Fatal Frame 2. It's a decent game. Fatal Frame 2 Remake specifically. Never played the original version. Didn't even know about Fatal Frame back then. But I heard it was good. I heard 2 is like kind of the fan favorite or the most scariest or popular or well known or whatever, and it makes sense because it's a sequel. So when this got announced or whatever it was, I was really surprised. I was like, oh, Fatal Frame 2, great. There you go. Because I've played Maiden of the Black Water or whatever and Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, so this had a very interesting... It's a lot like when Silent Hill 2 came out, Resident Evil 2, things of that nature, horror games, Japanese horror games. But yeah, I was excited for this, but I didn't want to go out of my way either because I really don't like the camera combat and the... Like, dude, I was saying during this, can I just... I love the ambience, I love the music, I love the sound effects, I love the girls, I love the characters, I love the designs, I love the environments, the settings, the vibe, the whole game, basically. I just hate the combat, I hate the fighting. It doesn't even need to be in there. I know it's like its whole thing and it's in the title, frame, picture, but it's one of those niche, gimmicky mechanics that like, oh, it's trying to stand out and be different. In my opinion, it has so much going on that it really doesn't need the camera. Like, it has to have something to... some kind of centerpiece, right? But honestly, like, if this was just a walking sim or haunted house or exploring, like, I would have been happy with it. But obviously that wouldn't have been enough, and like, oh, you almost can't even call that a game at this point. I realize for games to be a thing, there has to be some sort of gameplay, or there doesn't have to be, but that's more of like an indie level, and obviously this is trying to be like a AAA premium title. It's very high up there with horror games, especially J-horror, but I just can't get past the camera thing. I just can't do it. This is my 3rd game now, and I'm like, I'll play them. I don't like them. I don't care for them one way or the other. I could take it or leave it, but it's just kind of a shame because they are good. I love how immersive it is and engaging, and the notes, and you're really kind of a part of this story or this place and time, or it's interesting, it's intriguing, it's all these things, but I'll never like these games as much as I could. There's so much potential because you just don't see games of this quality being what it is. In fact, like, even indie games or older games, this is probably the best I can think of besides Silent Hill F that really represents like what it could be like to play a game that's directly feeding into the folklore and the urban legends and the paranormal from this country specifically, and how it's really represented. And but it's not a movie, it's not a paranormal investigation, it's not a documentary, it's not a show, it's a game. And there's a very small space for stuff like this. It's not a very wide, big genre. So it's definitely doing well in that department. It's the only thing like it out there that exists, but basically, or there's other phone games, right, or Asian games, Taiwanese or Thailand or what, like all kinds of stuff, Vietnamese, Chinese, Malaysian, whatever. But this is the one this is like the one. This is the flagship camera ghost game. with waifus, and it just doesn't click for me though. I like cameras, I like paranormal activity, found footage stuff, but this is one of those things where I'd rather just watch it instead of play it. Like, I think this could be a very good movie or something, you know? I don't know. It's just a shame because I wish there was more stuff like this that would delve into this kind of nature of things and this sort of dimension. And there's probably a lot of stuff out there. I guess you just gotta find it, but the thing is, it's probably really swept under the rug or underrated or just lost in time or like. There's other similar things, sure, to compare it to. There's always going to be, but I'm just thinking like right now, modern, today, recent, accessible. I mean, the fact, like, if there was a Fatal Frame 1, or I think there's 3, if those are more easier to just get or play or whatever, I'd probably do it. They're old, which would probably turn me off, but I could still have them or as an option or in the backlog or something. But, I feel the exact same way as I did with Mask and Lunar, and yet these are all very different games. They're remastered, they're next-gen versions, they're re-released, they're different, they were made in different times, similar mechanics, and they're the same games ultimately, but they're just slightly different, obviously, sure, yeah, whatever. But I guess to me it's just another Fatal Frame. It didn't really stand out, or... Which is a shame, because I think, like, I wanted to like this more. I don't know what that meant, but, like... Okay, with Mask, I really did like Mask. It was grungy. I think the older games are more charming and really feeds into the, like, static and the... Just really hammers down what they're trying to do, and I think they did a lot better in those games, to be fair. This one, I don't know, it's like there was... I feel like it went harder. I was liking where they went. There was a lot of things I could appreciate. And obviously, yeah, I've played the other games first, so there's always going to be that. Like, they're always going to mean something different to me. But normally normal people, normies would have played the original Fatal Frame 2, whether it was back in the day or today, and they would have probably compared this to it, and knowing other people, they'd probably be like, oh, the older one's better, but I have nothing to compare it to, other than the other 2 games I've played, so... I mean, in the end, I did like it. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it either. But it was like, I don't know, I guess... It was like a decent amount of time. It didn't drag on too long towards the end, which, well, the other games did, especially Mask. I don't know, it was different. It definitely wasn't as linear in A to B as the other games. I just think I think the older games did have a little bit more to offer, but then again, they're like in their timeline, they're kind of newer, so there's just going to be more to it. But this one was really simple and basic and easy, straightforward, somewhat. Less is more. Which I think worked out in its favor. Because I was also intimidated to play it because I was like, oh man, the other games are such a drag and such a challenge, and just messy and chaotic and difficult and complex, and whether we're talking puzzles or navigation or figuring things out or what to do, where to go, they definitely don't make it very clear. And it's a Japanese game, so it's expected, but it's like, you guys gotta give me something here, man. There's a couple times in this I had no clue what to do. It can take like an hour to literally figure out the smallest thing. It's like, oh, thankfully I had some experience, but it's like, alright, I'll look through my notes, yada yada. Cutscenes are good.
I wonder if anyone's in there. Dunno.
Let's go together.
But yeah, it's like, you know, oh, look at the map more, run around the house, double check things. Oh my gosh, dude, it was gnarly. And it really didn't help, like, just wanting to kind of rush it and get it over with so I can get to the next game I was anxious to play. And, like, it took me a while to get it because I was like, well, I don't really care, but I'll still play it, obviously, but... It was kind of a chore. It was, like, I want to give it so much more credit, like, where it deserves, but it becomes one of those situations where does the bad outweigh the good? Like, the pros and cons, it's just... I don't know. I think for me, it's definitely the bad outweighs the good, but just barely. I mean, I'd say 50%, 51% bad. Rounded up to 60. I think it got... I don't know, I love the twins, I love the girls, I love their designs, they got big anime eyes, they're really cute. I love their clothes, they still run around like little girls. You can't really tell how old they are, but it doesn't really matter, right? They definitely look a lot younger than Mask and Maiden. I assume they're like the same age, but... Yeah, with this being a remake, it's just very... It was very different. Which is good and bad. I think it was a little too smooth. It was the girls look a little cartoony. I do like the twins aspect though, like duality, and I can kind of get behind that. And you think of all, it makes you think of like all the, like the, just like twins, what they represent. Like, it's just not very normal, and it's kind of this taboo, and it's not as common, but it's still a thing. Or it's, you can think of it like redheads or gingers, like all the all the kind of like weird thing, I wouldn't even say conspiracies or controversies. It's more like just kind of random stuff you might come across. Or you think of like mutated heads, or just kind of, you know, reflection, mirrors, portals, being the same person but just different, born at the same time, life and death, all these things. Like, it's kind of... So yeah, that was cool. And I also liked some good... Trying to think of some good things here, but I did like their kind of center point, like in Mask, obviously it was just about masks, basically. And then Maiden was, I don't even remember really, honestly, like, Because I think I replayed Mask. I don't know if or it might have been Maiden, but if it was Mask, I think I only replayed that because like save slots and stuff, just easy, normal, or whatever. But yeah, Maiden was just like, you know, Sadako, Ring, girls with black hair coming out of boxes and wells and wet and you know, the very typical on the nose, standard, stereotypical, what you would expect that to be. But this one was kind of like, it felt a lot more gory, which doesn't make sense with the ghost, but it's like a lot more blood. Uh, it's still like very nighttime, no daytime other than the beginning, which is similar to the other games. It's about family again. It was weird though, because in the other games you're one girl one minute, you're the other girl the next minute, you're some guy the next minute. You're using a flashlight instead of a camera one minute. You're seeing different perspectives from different people's sides of the story. And the girl's always going to be connected, but the guy's going to be separate. This is just a common thing with the other two games. Not even one of them, but both of them. And it had a lot more variety. It had more... Like, you want to know what's going on, what's happening, what are we doing? But in this game, it was kind of like... Definitely wasn't any of that. Somewhat still, sure, but it just... A lot of it felt really dead. Like, soulless and shallow, and... I think when you have 3 people... I think it can provide just enough life to, like, kind of have a little bit more organicness to it. I think this one, it's like, yeah, we have our sister, but, like, not really. We're just kind of doing our own thing solo, which is fine. That works, right? I probably would have just preferred that, though, because it felt like I was playing RE4 or something. Like, it's just kind of... It was just... If the whole thing felt like a giant escort mission, you know? I didn't really... Like, it's believable, but I didn't really believe, like... Oh, we're these girls at this place doing this thing, and... Shit, I wasn't even paying attention to, like, how we got there in the first place, and I get so lost throughout the billions of notes, and, like... it's hard to pay attention to all that, but... Yeah, I don't know. Granted, it was a much more beginning game, but you almost expect more out of that because, like, whatever energy, your thoughts, the writing, the story, the mechanics, like, any kind of big project that goes live and gets greenlit, you're gonna put all your heart and soul into that before, and then when it just kind of, when things do well enough and they just get kind of, you know, overproduced and stuff and doesn't mean as much. And I can definitely see that there was a lot of love here, like, they didn't want to put in too much, but they knew what they were doing. They stayed in their lane. They have an identity. When people play this, they know exactly what they're getting into. It's very kind of in your face. I just don't know how to feel about... Well, it's tough because you either have kind of... It's like open world games versus... And I wouldn't really call it open world, but you know, Resident Evil, for example, for the most part, most of them, you're just going in a straight line. You're guided. You're gonna come up across some obstacles along the way, but ultimately, like it's like going through a haunted house. It's like it's very predictable. And then in this game, you really had to. It was tough because they made you work for it. Like if you want to, like obviously games back in the day, even this being a remake, they're definitely not gonna hold your hand, you know. Gameplay was good. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would have had a better time playing a cheaper, shittier, smaller indie game, to be honest. Like some indies slap. This game's weird because it really does feel like this fine line between indie and AAA, but like there's a lot of eye candy. The graphics look great. It's Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo. Like I love Neo. I love their art styles. I don't remember if it was them that specifically worked on the older games. But I can definitely tell like their formula, and I can see it or hints of it, elements. But yeah, the running was good. It was definitely more comparable to like Maiden. Like I think it better quality, better graphics. You can run better quality of life. You can just run around more. It's quicker. God, the girl in Mask was so slow. Holy. I was kind of zipping and zooming. I was grabbing stuff. I was taking pictures. I was looting. I think this game was more. It was just smoother. It had a better flow to it. I won't deny that the gameplay was like a lot better. I definitely didn't like it as much just being in the game and playing it, but while I was doing stuff, it was pretty good. And I loved looking around. It was hella dark, but especially when there's like lights and stuff too, it's not easy to see, but like the place looked great. The nature, it being a next gen modern remake AAA quality title, like that's what you'd expect, but there's one thing I was disappointed in. I was walking through a puddle and there's no splashing. There's no sound of the water, like it wouldn't even move. I think they forgot to animate that. Kind of a small thing, but it's just funny. Like you have this whole, like, oh, this game looks so good, and then you kind of look a little closer, and it's not that great. Because here's the thing, it's a small thing, but it makes a big difference. Like if I'm running through this thing, especially back and forth, this trail, in the dirt, in the forest, in the woods, on the ground. If I'm walking through a puddle and I'm believing that I'm really walking through that puddle and hearing it, the perception, the sensory stuff, that would have gave it an extra point right there. You know, things like that mean a lot to me, like when there's wind and especially weather effects like thunder and lightning and rain and like stuff to kind of pull you in. Because when I'm playing these games, I'm locked in. I'm I'm doing nothing else. I'm concentrated, focused for the most part. Yeah, just a small dumb thing, but just something to think about. I did like some of the designs of the enemies were. I think there are only like a couple that were kind of cool. A lot of them are pretty boring and plain and bleak and. I think when I think of Mask and Maiden, like every boss, every enemy just was so unique and diverse and special and distinctive, and they kind of had that here too. Like, oh, there's a very specific kind of like enemy ghost where you can tell how threatening they are, or haunting, or just this malevolent force of nature and this diabolical demonic being thing, really bad spirit. But in the other games, it felt like that, but like the whole time. Like, they didn't miss a beat. Like, they really. They knew what they were doing, and they made it better. Like, that's the whole thing with. That's why I love sequels, usually. A lot of people are like, oh, the first ones are better, the first movies, this and that, the first games. I don't always believe that. I think games do improve over time and grow and evolve. But this is such a good combination of this really old kind of package with this new coat of paint, and it came together really well, actually. Which is the point. You'd think that. I haven't played one remake yet that I've ever found like disappointing, or I love them. I love all of them. I think they're great, especially just because of the simple fact that I didn't play a lot of the older games back then, so I kind of look at it like a standalone, like by itself game, and that's what makes me appreciate it more and respect it and be thankful for what is there and what I do have versus like what could have been just micro focusing, picking. I don't know what differences they are. That maybe I don't really care about all that, but oh, maybe there's some stuff cut out, or maybe there's some stuff added in. There's Dead Space as well. It's a good example. When Doom got a reboot, like just things like that. I think that a game should stay exactly the same when this happens, but just add more to it. Don't take anything away. Not like that matters, or if they have to take stuff away to make room for the newer stuff, then yeah, or there can only be so much. You can only, optimize it and pack it all in and still have it. The thing with Japanese people, they're very efficient, they're very practical. They don't want games to hog up your whole hard drive. They don't want, they try to be kind of considerate, but they're smart. They find a way to, I wouldn't say cut corners, but they find ways to like really make this impactful product, but keep it at a very minimal standard. And that's kind of one of their strengths. Versus like a Western game's like 100 gigs. Oh man. But yeah, ultimately I did leave semi-happy. I'm thankful the ending wasn't something that what's actually funny is during the ending I left my controller on the side and it was vibrating so much and it fell off, and I just happened to take my headset right off because it's right next to that. And I missed like the whole ending. There was one part that was probably the most important. It was probably for 5 seconds and I missed it. I was like, bro, I could have to watch the VOD over again or something I still haven't done it, but just to see what the hell happened. was like, I went through all that bullshit. I got lost. I got the puzzles, the enemies. I put in hours. Like, I got it done in a few days, but I put in a pretty good, decent amount of time each day. I went through all that shit just to miss the ending. It's like, whatever, dude. I don't know why, but horror games, every time I try to play them, they're kind of just cursed. Like, something bad, I feel, always happens. I don't know why. You know, the weather, you know, it's like Omen shit. It's like, the weather gave off the power, or stream crashed, or computer got too hot, or the game crashed, or it's always something, like, oh, something spilled, or it's so weird. I don't know what it is. But I wasn't gonna let that alone ruin it, though. It was pretty unfortunate, but... And obviously I wanted to get it done, and I had the motivation to actually get on and play it every day, and not like, oh, I'm gonna play for an hour or two, or like space it out or something. Like, I wanted to really knock it out. Granted, half of it was to get to the next game, but I still wanted to kind of... I was like, oh, this kind of is exciting. Maybe it'll do some good for me playing this game. Which it didn't really. It feels good to play this kind of thing again. I've been really on the Japanese... I just got done with the Otei, and now Yakuza 3. Really kind of keeping that train going, I guess. And it just felt good to stick like a horror game kind of in between all that. But yeah, Fatal Frame 2 Remake, Crimson Butterfly.